Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth McCravey, an online educator for entrepreneurs, website designer, wife, boy mom, and your host for the Breakthrough Brand podcast, the show that's all about pulling back the curtain on how to actually build a successful business. I don't skim the surface around here. If you want to dive deep into the nitty-gritty details of what it takes to run a sustainable business that fits your unique lifestyle while standing out in a crowd, then you are in the right place. I created a multiple six-figure a year business in my early 20s, and now in my 30s, I'm still running that successful multiple six-figure a year business on just part-time hours now as a working mom. I'm here to share everything I've learned and everything I'm still learning because I believe that the keys to building a thriving business should never be a secret. Here you'll find episodes that are actionable, direct, and fun, like friends chatting business over coffee, and a fresh, honest take on the reality of being an entrepreneur. If you're ready to master online marketing, website design, personal branding, mindset, time management as a busy parent, scalable and passive income, and business strategy, then this is the podcast for you. It's time to build your breakthrough brand. Let's do this. Hey friends, so there's no new episode this week with a training or an interview or anything like that, but I did want to pop in and tell you what's coming on the Breakthrough Brand podcast for the rest of July, August, September, and even October too, because that's how far I plan out. And I've never done a little episode like this, but since I didn't mention what's to come at the end of last week's episode, I was like, I should do just a little pop in, kind of like unfiltered, talking to you guys about what's to come, what's going on in my life right now, all of that good stuff. So I'm officially on maternity leave as you're hearing this. Yay, which feels so weird. I'm recording this in advance as one does with a podcast. And I'm not sure if I'll have baby girl in my arms or not yet when this airs on July 8th. I totally could. I totally couldn't. My due date feels very much up in the air. You know, babies come when they're ready to come. But you can follow me on Instagram if you don't already. And that's where I'll be sharing her birth announcement and some behind the scenes on life as we adjust to having 3 kids and welcome our baby girl into the world. I'll share her name there and photos and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, I'm at Elizabeth McCravey on Instagram. If you don't follow me, I'd love to connect with you there. So anyway, though, as I'm on maternity leave, here's what's going on the podcast and kind of in my business in general. So you know what to expect and know what to get excited for on the show. So first of all, no new content this week or the next 2 weeks of July, which I know can kind of sound like a bummer, but I want to say, please do go back and listen to older episodes that you may have skipped. And I'm talking episodes from like last week's, if you didn't listen to that, all the way to something from 2021 that may have not felt relevant to you then, but now you see the title and you're like, oh, that episode sounds like it would be helpful to me right now. That content is all still so relevant even as time goes on. So, over the next 3 weeks, if you're craving some Breakthrough Brand episodes, go back and listen to some of those older ones. And then the last week of July, I will have our first guest solo training, which I'm so excited about. This is something I've never done on the podcast. I'm really excited to try it out. It's been so good, like setting all this up. But this is basically an episode where you will hear me introduce it. And then it's a guest who's a friend of mine teaching on something she's particularly gifted in just for you, specifically made for the Breakthrough Brand podcast audience. So it is like an interview in the sense that I picked the topic and the direction and things like that, but I'm not on there asking questions. So it's like a solo episode, basically with this person teaching on a topic. So like a solo episode, but a different person than me. And we have a bunch of these planned for during my maternity leave. And so we'll have a mix of these guest solo trainings and then solo episodes from me that I pre-recorded and one recast. And those are happening over that last week of July and then August and September and then a little bit of October too. And these episodes will mainly air every other week. Also in there, I'm going to record baby girl's birth story. I'm not sure when that'll air because not sure when I'll end up feeling like processing and sharing that. It's been different for me with every pregnancy so far, like when I felt like, okay, I'm ready to like sit down and take the time to record this, but that is going to definitely be a story I share because it's been so meaningful to me. And I know you guys have enjoyed it too, sharing my kids' birth stories on the podcast. So anyway, though, I've worked so hard on these episodes coming out, and so have my guests who recorded the awesome guest training. So I just want to say you don't want to miss these. Some of the topics on the guest training specifically to get you excited. We have some stuff of like evergreen marketing, an episode all about bringing faith into your business and building your business with God that's like super practical, how to work part-time hours and mom the rest of the time with a really scaled business from one of my friends who does that great, and then blogging strategies and so much more. So So really, really just great topics. Again, I've listened to these solo episodes myself as I checked that I liked the content, but then also recorded intros for them. So anyway, they're just really, really solid content. I think you're going to love hearing from these different women in different ways. So anyway, be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss these episodes, especially since we'll be at an every other week rhythm. Like I said, it's not every week like I normally do. It's every other week. And you can subscribe on Apple or Spotify just by telling the app that you want to be notified when the new episode comes out. That's what I mean by subscribe. So that way you don't miss any. You're not having to go type in Breakthrough Brand Podcast. It's just going to when you open up that Spotify app and you open up the Apple Podcast app, it's going to load in and be like, hey, there's a new episode today from the Breakthrough Brand Podcast. So you don't have to miss it. Because I could even end up inserting some extra episodes and things like that. I'm not really sure yet. And while I'm at it, while we're chatting on here, if you've been a listener of the show for a while, or even just have listened to one episode and you're like, I really enjoyed that, I just want to ask, I don't ask this often enough, but would you mind leaving a rating and or a review for the show? So if you're a Spotify user, you can leave a rating on that app. You can just tap how many stars you want to do, but it submits it. It's really quick and easy. And then on Apple, you can do just a rating if you want, or a written review as well. And you do that by just going to the page for the whole show, scrolling down a little bit, and then you're going to see there's I want to say around 300 reviews already, something like that. But you'll see everyone else's review, and then there's an opportunity to write your own review. And podcast reviews are a big thing. It really does help shows grow. There's a reason why podcast hosts ask you to write reviews, but it helps people find the show. It shows that the show's relevant. And I also really do read every single review, and they mean the world to me. So that'd be fun to open up my own podcast app as I'm on maternity leave and look at the new episodes that air and see some reviews. So I'd love if I could hear from you that way. And it really is just awesome to hear from people listening on the other end of the AirPods or the phone or the car speaker and whatnot as a podcaster. Also, worth saying, but my courses and templates are for sale. Yes, even while I'm on leave. So my business is not closing down because I'm taking maternity leave. That's a really cool thing about having a mainly digital product-based business, but everything is still for sale while I'm on leave. So you can go to elizabethmccravey.com to shop courses, templates, all the things, read my old blog posts, download freebies, get discount codes for, things like Show It and Dubsado and different tools you might be interested in for your business. And my team is also available to help you over email if you need help with deciding what product's best for you. If you're already a customer and you're needing customer support, all of that is still very much in place while I'm on leave. So anyway, I hope you enjoy what's coming over the next months. I hope you'll listen to old episodes that you may have missed. And I want to say, with such sincerity, thank you for supporting us in this business as we become a family of 5. I cannot believe it. And thank you for being here. As a podcast listener who would listen to this little short non-episode episode. So anyway, just thank you for being here. I don't take it for granted. I'm so grateful for you guys and for this podcast and for this business. I could cry because all the pregnancy hormones. And I want to say too, if you are a praying person, I would so appreciate your thoughts and prayers around birth, around the postpartum season, around the adjustments we'll be going through, my kids going through, me and Adam, as we adjust to a new baby and becoming a family of 5. Because I do feel this transition, I don't know which one will be hardest. People say a 0 to 1 harder, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. I don't know. But I am anticipating it all with excitement. But I also know there will be a lot of hard. It's not just roses and butterflies or whatever the phrase is when you make these kind of big life changes. So if I would appreciate your prayers and thoughts about all those things. Yeah. And thank you for being here. And I hope you can get excited with me about the upcoming episodes. Let me know what you think of them as they air. I would love to hear from you over Instagram DMs or on comments of anything I share from a new episode or something. So anyway, that is it, friends. Thank you for being here. And, 2 more weeks off, and then we have that awesome first guest training at the end of July. So thanks so much. Bye, you guys. Thank you for listening to the podcast, friend. I appreciate you being here. That just flew by, didn't it? Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I really want to encourage you to check out my website where you will find tons of resources to help you grow a profitable and sustainable business. Over on elizabethmccravey.com, you'll find things like free workbooks, guides, quizzes, lock screens, and checklists to encourage you in your business, help you grow, and give you practical solutions to many business problems. You'll also find my top business tools. Like, yes, I literally list out all the major ones for you on my website. And I even have a lot of special discounts and offers for you guys to snag as you try these products, services, and softwares. If you want to take the podcast content and make it super actionable, my resource page is here to help. So go to elizabethmccravey.com/tools to access everything. I hope you have fun exploring all of it over there. And if you loved this episode, leave a rating and review for the show wherever you're listening or share with a friend. That's a great way to support the podcast, and I appreciate it so much. Thanks again so much for listening. I'll be back next week with a new episode. Bye for now.